The United States possesses the world's reserve currency, granting them the ability to print and pay off their debts. Consequently, they tend to spend more than they earn, leveraging the strength of the US dollar. Additionally, to fuel their economy, they rely on outsourcing crucial goods and services due to the US dollar's dominance over other currencies. This complex economic landscape is heavily influenced by the petrodollar system, which plays a vital role in bolstering the strength of the US economy. This is Observing Citizen bringing you an exploration of the crumbling petrodollar system and its potential implications. Today, we delve into the factors that could potentially trigger a chain reaction leading to a world war, all stemming from the unraveling of the once dominant petrodollar system. After World War II, the United States emerged as the dominant economic power, similar to the British and Dutch empires of the past. The U.S. extended loans, provided aid, and made investments in countries around the world. This led to a widespread trust in the U.S. economy as it continued to grow and prosper. The confidence in the U.S. dollar was backed by something very reassuring. The U.S. had the largest gold reserves at that time, and it offered a fixed exchange rate for its currency based on gold. Other nations pegged their currencies to the U.S. dollar, which created a sense of stability and trust in the global economy. Countries believed that holding U.S. dollars or assets denominated in U.S. dollars, such as bonds or bills, was a reliable choice. This trust in the U.S. dollar allowed countries to spend continuously and expand their economies, resulting in an economic bubble. Maintaining a gold standard dollar required the backing of sufficient gold reserves to support the currency in circulation. However, with mounting debt and continuous spending, the United States faced challenges in upholding the necessary gold reserves to sustain the gold standard. It became increasingly difficult for the U.S. government to guarantee that every dollar in circulation could be redeemed for a fixed amount of gold. In response to the financial pressures, the U.S. government made the difficult decision to abandon the gold standard. In 1971, President Richard Nixon announced the end of the convertibility of the U.S. dollar into gold, effectively severing the direct link between the U.S. currency and precious metals. After leaving the gold standard, the United States understood that it needed to keep the advantages of having the world's main currency. Instead of giving that role to another country, the U.S. wanted to maintain its economic well-being without having to give gold to other nations in exchange for U.S. dollars. With the abandonment of the gold standard, the United States faced the challenge of maintaining the global confidence in the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency. To secure its position as the dominant currency in the international market, the United States sought a new anchor for the value of the dollar, which led to the emergence of the petrodollar system. The petrodollar system inherited elements of the Bretton Woods system, which had established the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency. Under the new system, the stability and value of the U.S. dollar were reinforced through its linkage to the pricing and trading of oil. In the early 1970s, major oil-producing countries, led by Saudi Arabia, agreed to price oil exclusively in U.S. dollars. This agreement, known as the petrodollar recycling system, ensured a consistent demand for U.S. dollars in the global oil market. It created a symbiotic relationship between oil-exporting nations and the United States, as countries needed U.S. dollars to purchase oil, while the United States benefited from the continued international demand for its currency. As a result, the petrodollar system became deeply intertwined with the global economy. Oil-importing nations needed to accumulate U.S. dollars to secure their energy supplies, leading to a constant demand for the currency. In turn, this sustained demand for U.S. dollars reinforced its status as the world's reserve currency, giving the United States immense economic advantages. Moreover, the petrodollar system enabled the United States to finance its trade deficits and government spending by exporting inflation. As the global demand for U.S. dollars continued, the United States could issue more dollars without immediate repercussions, as other countries needed them for oil transactions. This allowed the United States to maintain higher levels of debt and sustain its consumption-driven economy. So let's summarize the crucial benefits of the petrodollar system on U.S. economy. Firstly, oil-importing countries needed U.S. dollars to buy oil, leading to a constant demand for the currency. This increased demand strengthened the value and stability of the U.S. dollar. Secondly, the petrodollar system facilitated international trade and investment. countries accumulated US dollars for oil purchases, which they then reinvested in US assets like treasury bonds and other investments, boosting the US economy. And lastly, the system enabled the US government to finance its debt more easily. Foreign countries held US dollars as reserves, and their continuous demand for US assets, like bonds, helped fund the government's spending and maintain economic stability. Or, in other words, the United States can finance its trade deficits and government spending by printing, basically, paper. Additionally, the petrodollar system provided the United States with the opportunity to leverage cheap labor from other countries, resulting in a more efficient and productive economy. This arrangement had a transformative effect on the U.S. economy, as it enabled the country to tap into the advantages of cost-effective labor markets abroad. So, the petrodollar system can be seen as a major boost that fueled the impressive growth and prosperity of the U.S. economy. This economic framework was supported by the immense military strength of the United States. The United States has taken military action or supported interventions to protect its economic interests linked to the petrodollar system. For instance, in 2000, Saddam Hussein's Iraq began selling oil in euros instead of US dollars, challenging the petrodollar system. This move threatened the stability of the US dollar and the dominance of the United States in the global financial system. The subsequent invasion of Iraq in 2003 led to regime change, with the U.S. exerting control over Iraq's oil resources and reinstating oil sales in U.S. dollars. Gaddafi also tried to challenge the petrodollar system. Muammar Gaddafi's Libya explored the idea of establishing an African gold-backed currency as an alternative to the petrodollar. This potential challenge to the U.S. dollar's supremacy in the region posed a significant threat. In 2011, a military intervention in Libya led to regime change, ultimately undermining Gaddafi's plans and ensuring the continuation of oil sales in U.S. dollars. When countries like Iraq and Libya posed challenges to the petrodollar system in the past, the United States could easily address those situations through its military might. However, the situation becomes much more complex when China and Russia start undermining the petrodollar system, as they possess advanced nuclear arsenals that can rival that of the United States. The US dollar, which has been the currency of choice in oil trade since the 1970s, is still the dominant currency in the market and global currency reserves, but several recent deals and highest-level summits have sought to undermine the dollar's dominance. The Saudi government publicly confirmed in January that it is considering selling oil in other currencies. This declaration came just a few weeks after Chinese President Xi Jinping took a historic trip to Riyadh. There, Beijing signed agreements with the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, and Arab League. Xi announced that China would be buying oil and gas from the Persian Gulf region with its own currency, the Chinese yuan, not dollars. China will continue to import large quantities of crude oil from GCC countries, expand imports of liquefied natural gas, and make full use of the Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange as a platform to carry out UN settlement of oil and gas trade, he said. These developments mark a departure from the traditional dominance of the US dollar in oil transactions and suggest a potential erosion of the petrodollar system. With these emerging challenges, the petrodollar system is experiencing a level of scrutiny and potential disruption that it has not encountered before. Additionally, in just the first 2 months of 2023, China's imports from Russia totaled $9.3 billion, exceeding full-year 2022 imports in dollar terms. In February alone, China imported over 2 million barrels of Russian crude, a new record high. Except that now, the yuan is presumably being used to make these settlements. As Zoltar Potzer, New York-based economist and investment research director at Credit Suisse, put it recently, that's dusk for the petrodollar and dawn for the petro yuan. Today, the yuan accounts for just 2.7% of the market compared to the US dollar's share of 41%. So it's not a huge game changer at the moment. And the dollar is still the global currency, but what about tomorrow? When countries like Iraq and Libya posed challenges to the petrodollar system in the past, the United States could easily address those situations through its military might. However, the situation becomes much more complex when China and Russia start undermining the petrodollar system, as they possess advanced nuclear arsenals that can rival that of the United States. Unlike smaller nations, China and Russia have the capability to engage in military escalation and match the U.S. move for move, even reaching the highest level of conflict, all-out nuclear war. This means that the US cannot simply launch military attacks against China and Russia without facing severe consequences, as they have the capacity to respond in kind. In essence, the dynamics shift significantly when major powers like China and Russia challenge the petrodollar system, as the military implications become much more serious due to their nuclear capabilities. Imagine a scenario where BRICS countries, with their rapidly growing economies and nearing the surpassing of the G7's GDP, decide to completely abandon the use of the US dollar in their energy agreements. This would have significant implications for the United States. As the largest debtor nation in the world, the US heavily relies on the value and stability of the US dollar. If BRICS countries shift away from using the dollar, the demand for it would decrease, potentially leading to a decline in its value. This could pose a major challenge for the US, as its ability to print money and pay off debts may become increasingly limited. Furthermore, the US economy has greatly benefited from the cheap outsourcing of products and labor from other countries. If this outsourcing becomes unavailable, the US economy may struggle to sustain its previous levels of growth and prosperity. This could impact various industries and sectors within the country. Considering these factors, it becomes crucial for the US to assess the potential rise of China as the next global hegemon. Will the United States, armed with its powerful military, sit idly by and watch China surpass its influence? It is unlikely. History has shown that former hegemons do not passively accept their decline. Major shifts in the global order have often been accompanied by significant conflicts and wars. In essence, this perspective may seem pessimistic, but it is important to consider the words of renowned psychologist Abraham Maslow. If all you have is a hammer, aren't you going to see everything as a nail? The United States, equipped with its military might, may feel compelled to protect its interests and maintain its position of power before it's too late. In summary, the potential abandonment of the US dollar by emerging powers, the US's mounting debt, the loss of cheap outsourcing, and the rise of China all raise questions about the future trajectory of global power dynamics and the potential for major conflicts or wars to reshape the world order. Thank you for watching The Observing Citizen. If you liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next video.